Welcome
Welcome
to Timeline Talks.
to the Timeline Talks.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live in Technicolor from the beautiful Hollywood Hills, California. The show where the total retail price of their advice is $0. This is Timelines Talks.
Yes, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 9090 of Timelines Talks. We are back. It is fresh. We have guests, we have recurring people, we've got all the news and the action. Can you tell I'm excited? Because we've had a very good show last Sunday on the charity show. Joining me is Automaton 2000. We have Frank, and recurring guest, well, new recurring guest, hopefully will be recurring, is Dan Javin. Or Dan Gavin, or Dan Gavin, we'll call you whatever. Welcome.
Danger Van.
Danglevines, sure, whatever.
Danglevines, yeah, sure. How are you, my friend?
All right. Hold on a second. Before we get into that.
For those that had 32 seconds into the show for an interruption, bingo.
Now, you folks know that we always produce top quality video content for you. We always strive to do our best, except sometimes we don't. So I had all of these audio clips lined up for the brand new introduction.
Would you like to hear them?
That we were going to do with our new guest star, Dan Javin.
Hang on. Here it is.
Unfortunately, one of us had a bit of a tummy ache from the hamburger, and so they didn't have time to get that all lined up, so I'm just going to do it live. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live in Technicolor from the beautiful Hollywood Hills, California. The show where the total retail price of their advice is $0. This is Timelines Talks, featuring guest stars.
Can't hear it. Do you want me to play them, Auto? Hang on. Here we go.
Hold on.
Hang on. Here we go. Look.
I thought he sounded familiar. It's Automaton 2000.
And
Your sleep paralysis also featuring.
oh, sorry.
It's also featuring
This is going so well.
Dan Javin. Also featuring Daniel Gavin. Danger Van. I don't know, just use one of those for the intro.
And
his blood alcohol level is yes. Here's your host, Captain I.
Well, that worked.
Forget to go to bit.ly/TrekTime23 to donate to the International Rescue Committee.
Absolutely right, Phone Auto. That link you can go to bit.ly/TrekTime23. We're still accepting donations for the charity show. That's going to be for those that couldn't make it live on Sunday for that absolutely amazing charity show we just had and still want to donate. You can actually go to bit.ly/TrekTime23 and donate how much you want. The link is going to keep being open so we can still support the International Rescue Committee. So we're kind of happy with that. We had guys, did we not have a great charity show? I had a really good time. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, it was insanely good. Everything went on time. All our guests were great. Everyone in chat, everyone that raised money for us was brilliant. It was absolutely amazing.
The most impressive thing about it was you saved What the Dub for the end, and y'all were still hilarious. So I don't know how you did it after 10 hours.
We were all secretly wishing that What the Dub would crash so we could get the hell off the stream.
It
and I'm not saying it actually did. I think Idle was just like clicking outside the button. He's like, gee, why won't this work?
Yeah, secretly just wanted to go to bed.
I said it during the show, and I'll say it again. And Ben said it very well. Kudos absolutely to the hostess with the mostess. That year after year. Thank you. Yes, Automaton 2000 has done it. It's grown, and we've had real life Trek actors from multiple shows now. We've had the people that have designed the kick-ass ships that we've all seen recently. No spoilers, and fallen in love with. No spoilers. We've had people that like to talk about this in different disciplines from different podcasts around the world. People that host trivia shows. I mean. It just all works. Plus, you raise a ton of money for charity. 3 years in a row, 3 great charities. And what better than to cap it all off by saying, if you missed it out, you better go watch it now. It's in segments on YouTube. And also make sure you hit the link that he just mentioned, the bit.ly link. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your enemies, tell your postman. If you want to give $5, it's going to a great cause. And also conthemusical.com. Con is coming. Tickets on sale now. You've got less than a month, starting at $25.
Slow down. The show notes, you don't just have to read down top down. You can just stop.
Oh, I'm just doing my plugs.
And that's our show, folks.
I'm just straight doing my plugs.
Glad to be here.
Hold on, he wasn't done. It's at the Players Theater in New York City, starting May 4th, running through June 4th.
It is indeed. We were happy to have Brent Black. You know, I do just want to thank all the people that came on from Brent Black to Bonnie Gordon and Aaron Waltke and Bill Krause and Sean Tourangeau and Thomas Marone. My one complaint about that section, the ship section, was at the start I said, and I had a complaint about this. I said like, this will be a no spoiler section, and then Thomas Marone just went, by the way, spoilers. I was like, oh, okay, fine, thank you.
Yeah, your face, you had this brief little pissed off look for a second. You're like,
thank you.
Yeah, and then he said like, oh, and I have the
yeah.
fucking, I'll say it, the ship that has a letter in it. And you're like,
oh. In another bit of professionalism, we were supposed to introduce our guest and let him talk about himself before we started talking about the charity. So, Daniel Jevin, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you.
How did you find us? What's your story?
Well, actually, I apparently I had an account on Timelines for since the beginning, but I only really became active in the past 2 years. So I've only ever known the post Timelines Talks world. So you've been at my side while I grew for the entirety of the past 2 years. The thing that really drew me to Star Trek was just growing up as a pre-adolescent and watching. Funny enough, Wesley Crusher, who I think a lot of people would say is the most annoying character, but I was able to kind of glomp onto him and see the world through his eyes. So yeah, TNG remains my favorite show, and I love playing the game, love listening to you guys. I've been fortunate enough to find the cab fleet along the way, and been trusted with maintaining that site and keeping those stats going.
Yes, you're now running the cab sheet, aren't you?
Yeah. So let me give it a try. Cymru am byth. So for all our Welsh neighbors, I think I got that right.
The man with the unpronounceable name and the fleet with the unpronounceable name. It's very fitting.
I think you're now our third cab person we've had on there, so we better get some other fleet people on to not show favoritism. It's great to have you here.
Well, thanks for having me.
No, always welcome. People of your caliber are always welcome here, especially fleet leaders, people who contribute, and the occasional chatter. One thing we do have to do before we go any further, because it was at the top of the sheet and I forgot, we need to spin the wheel to see who wins a sub this week. So thank you for everyone that submitted show titles. Sorry I put them up late, the announcement up late, because I forgot. So I just decided we'd pick the funniest one, and seeing as our theme for the Star Trek Adventures on the charity show was the Cleveland Clapper. Yeah, everyone loves a Cleveland Clapper. Let's spin it. Let's see who wins the sub. Darbo, Nifty Mittens, our very own ST8 person as well. And we got a shout out as well from Walt Koenig. Danjavin is an awesome fleet member. You heard it here first. Breaking news. Danjavin is awesome. So, go on.
Go on.
No, it's fine. I don't mind. You go.
You have the uniform.
That's
no uniform,
true. That's
no
true.
orders.
Captain Stripes and all. Okay, so if you do want to check up with any of the charity show, if you missed it, you can see the entire thing. If you want the whole 10 hours in one lump with all the weird bonus segments, or I've cut it all up into individual segments. So if you just want to see the interview with the Starship designers, Bill Krause and Sean Tourangeau and Thomas Marone, or if you just want to see the Bonnie Gordon section, they're all up there individually, and you can get bits and pieces. You can just tune into what you want to and go from there. And it's all great content. I especially recommend the table reading sections, mostly because Auto's bit it hasn't got more views than all the other ones.
Dude, we had so much fun with it, and everyone's like, "No, we're gonna watch the real Trek people instead of the fake Trek hosts." I'm like, "All right, it's fine, it's okay, whatever."
No, it was good fun.
So we also have upcoming, which I did ask our Twitch subs about almost 2 months ago now, about a new possible Timelines related show. So we have recorded the pilot for that. I don't know how many we'll do. A lot of research went into that, so can't really crank them out there, but no comment. And so that one's coming soonish. We wanted to get the charity show out of the way, and for the next honor sale, I believe we'll do a stream for that. I see Trey and Chad some pack openings to be doing there, so we haven't completely abandoned timelines, even though the charity stream was more of a grab bag from all over Star Trek.
And yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think that's next on my job list to finish doing the titles and all the things. We did record. Yeah, we did sit and record the whole. What was it called? What's it called, Otto? The title of your new show?
Well, it's a take on Antiques Roadshow, so we call it the Fan Geeks Roadshow, and it covers all sorts of cards in Star Trek timelines.
It's going to be good fun. It's going to be good fun. We need to go through, but just running back to the charity show, we do need to go and sort of thank some members of the community, those that donated the most. Not that they're more important than anyone who donated, but just an extra special shout out for some people. Anyone, like I said on the show itself, if you could only donate $1 or $3, or even just tell someone about it that can donate, all equally as good. We love you all, but it's nice to sort of shout out a few names. So, Otto, if you want to have a shout out of that.
I'm actually going to shout out all the names.
Oh, you are going to? Okay.
Because everyone's fucking awesome, and that stream was awesome. Shia Porn, Sparky Balboa, Geno Sedanian, Cairo 47, Ran Aaron, Bondi Bond, Rev Demar, Stars and Garters, Mrs. Idol, Tars Tarkus Net, I'm a Dr. Nifty Mittens, Walt Koenig, Dan from the It's Got Star Trek podcast, Gobolts 07, O Katrina, Plain Simple Garrick, Idol's dad. Boy, Idol's entire family donated for this one. Captain Idol, Ronaldo, Captain Mackenzie Calhoun, Frank, Evans of Wales, Skycap, Julian from the Strange New Podcast, thank you. Methos, Davey from the Trexperts Quiz, thank you. Our guests are phenomenal. WRG Matt, Cold Dam, Best Efforts, Booter, Smock Teleheli, Cranky, and then at amounts in the triple digits and beyond, Pahura and her litter of cats, thank you very much. Dan Javin, the extremely handsome co-host of today's show. Anonymous, thank you, Anonymous. Low Cost Monkey. No Name Namer, our subscribers who totaled over $400 since the last charity stream. And two men who gave a titanic amount, over $500 each. 7-6 Suited and Schuler, a.k.a. Scholar. So thank you to everyone who donated. That was, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and like Otto said, shout out everyone. Hey, thank you. Everyone that subscribed to our channel, that's where your money went, and we collated it all, put it all in. So if you've subscribed over the last year, and all it subscribes and bits, it all goes straight into here. And from now on, anything that comes back in will go hopefully to the next charity show, which we shall plan when it comes close to the time. So no, big thank you to absolutely everyone. Should we talk about some timelines? Should we?
I like timelines.
It's okay.
Well, so before as we continue to recap this charity stream here, is there anything you guys want to talk about not related to timelines? And then the rest of the show will be timelines goodness.
I'm drinking a tea.
Yeah.
What are we drinking today? So I've brought a special brew for today.
It's a Cleveland. Okay, you're my favorite guest.
For podcast listeners, Danjamin is drinking a Cleveland Clapper.
Actually, it's a Perot, but yeah, I'm day drinking East Coast US. Day drinkers unite.
No, I have said to myself I'm going to stop midweek drinking. So it's only going to be for the weekends. So if you're going to come and join us, we're going to do a Butter Zone this Saturday. I'm going to post it on the Discord very soon. So then I will be drinking then. So. I forget what we're talking. I think we're just going to sit there and shout "Walker" at each other. So,
Walker, what are you doing, Walker? No, actually, I'm going to put together a couple. Have you guys seen? Bye, Frank. Sometimes streamers do those tier list things. I want to put together a couple of those. I think it's like tiermaker.com or something.
Oh yeah, the thing. Yes.
I want to put together a couple of those about either random Star Trek stuff or food or whatever. So we're gonna have fun with that on the Butter Zone on the weekend.
Butter Zone. It's amazing how many T's are lost in the English language, in the British language. Sometimes I just can't be asked to talk, and I just everything is a vowel. Oh, hi Frank. You okay there, Frank?
Is he actually frozen?
I don't know.
No.
It's good fun. Right, let's talk about some timelines. We've got some stuff to talk about this week. A lot of news has suddenly just dropped, very thanks to Monsieur Ben from Wicked Realm Games, who came on the charity show, which you can see as well. But if you can't be bothered to watch an hour-long YouTube video, hey, we're going to recap it for you here tonight.
Question, sir?
Indeed. We did ask. Did we ever ask him a poop question? We should. Are we that comfortable with Ben
shouldn't,
yet?
no.
Are we that comfortable with each other yet? I think so. Also, take us down.
That was, how am I supposed to segue out of comfort poop questions? All right. So yeah, we did go for an hour, and we threw a lot of questions at him. A couple passive aggressive questions too. So I tried to highlight all the goodies here, and so let's go ahead. Timelines originals. We've had several in the last year. So he talked a little bit about WG's relationship with CBS, which is, quote, cool and direct for the most part. Sometimes they shoot him down when they have really terrible ideas. And I find it interesting that WG also has to check with the actor for approval as well. I know a lot of us have thought, oh, that's kind of written into the contract for newer Star Trek shows. If you are signed with CBS, they don't have to. But apparently actors have to give their approval as well, which is kind of interesting. And regarding all the new exclusives as well, he says they're used to increase engagement, quote, with certain features. When they add new ones, they look to vary up the skill sets and traits from previous exclusives in that feature.
Is this why we've not had Speedo Picard yet? Is Patrick Stewart's just like, no, that's too much for any one person to look at?
Probably.
I don't know if he'd have a problem with that.
No, I think you might be right there.
I've seen it all.
He has. I actually have you ever seen that picture of Patrick Stewart in the lobster costume when he's sitting in the bath? Have you seen that one?
I think I have.
Yeah, I want that Picard. I want Lobster Picard. Give me Lobster Picard. That could be a good originals. He'd sign off on it, I'm sure. CBS wouldn't.
Do you have any non-lobster related originals you'd like to see in game, Dan?
Well, I think we should get the whole bridge crew as Lobster. Who's got Ambojutsu Riker, so that's First Officer Lobster. So yeah, I'd like to see the rest of them. Sure, that could be Data's sixth persona on the series.
His hidden half brother from another mother, Lobster Data.
Brent Spiner can do anything; he can pull it off.
Just call him Lob.
Boy, someone's feeling good after that charity stream.
I really am.
Okay, regarding the new faction shop exclusive crew, he says no hard plans as to whether or not Mir Tuvok will enter the portal or whether they're adding more, but he did say, quote, I can see doing this for other factions. I thought that was pretty well received by mostly everyone.
I think, like, 5,000 dilithium is a nice spot. It doesn't feel extortionate like, say, 10 or 50,000 dilithium or something like that. It feels achievable for free-to-play players, and obviously you can cite from there on out. I think that's, and I think the Tuvok card itself, which we'll talk about in a bit, is extremely good. Dan, your opinions? I didn't ask you. Are you free-to-play, or do you dabble in a little bit here and there?
I am an extreme cheapskate. I am very cheap to play, although I have spent at strategic points. So it's my take on that is, my dilithium usually goes to crew slots. It's got to, otherwise you're just gonna not be able to keep everything you want to keep. So 5,000 is a lot. I mean, that can get you quite a few crew slots on a sale. But what are you saving those slots for, if not for the best crew in the game? And Mir Tuvok is it. And I think it's a balance. If you're not at critical space, I think it's absolutely a buy. The next one down the line is going to have to be just as good in its own ways, and it may not be number one Voyager, but it had better be a fleet boss battle powerhouse or something like that to really do it. But I think the most
don't threaten everyone. You're like, it better be. And he's
Are you listening? I know Ben's listening. So but the most important thing about it is that now we have a way to target specific crew. That is not crew retrieval. And so here's a non-portal crew, fantastic, that we can get. All it takes is either a couple of refreshes or waiting for a month. And now you can pull them right out, get that first star, sight them up, and you can be ready to go. And that's extremely important too, especially for a free-to-play account who is going to have to wait a very long time, either between crew retrievals or just in general for the right crew to drop out of an event or out of a pack.
Pull up in chat. We'll be talking about this faction store stuff throughout the show.
The biggest issue I've taken with the Gauntlet exclusive crew outside of Locutus and these two new golds in Voyages is that there's no way guarantee to get them. The purples in Voyages, even a free-to-play player, VIP 0, somebody who just started a year ago, whatever, get 20 tokens, you're going to get most of those purples. because you know which dilemmas that drop it, and you just need to be able to have the tokens to get you there. You're guaranteed to get them. Gauntlet, do 20,000 rounds, you're guaranteed Locutus. Nothing beyond that guaranteed. The golds aren't guaranteed. So that I don't like when crew are potentially, quote unquote, impossible to get. I like some method of being able to even obtain them after some amount of time, be it retrieval or whatever. So, I mean, we'll talk about Tuvok, but yeah, we like change that's good. Yay.
Please show your clapping on screen in the future when you make that noise. Thank you.
Please clap.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is what, a 1 in 29 chance, I think, because two of the Mirror Crew are exclusives and they won't be in there. If they end up doing something with a much more populous space like Bajoran or whatever, and it ends up being a 1 in 60 or a 1 in 80, then all of a sudden that's not so fun. So I think Ben did say somewhere on some various channel that was kind of a good size for them to have released for that faction. But yeah, it can still be frustrating when everyone else is getting theirs and you're waiting for a random chance to pop up.
I mean, if the last...
speaking of that...
Sorry, I was just saying the last two Gauntlet. I mean, I've been out of the game a little bit. I'm sort of starting to creep back in, but I mean, I didn't even get a chance. I didn't even get a look in at Archer. I was kind of thinking, well, I'll take a month off and I'll just chill out and see where I am with the game. And it's just like, nope, there's a new one. Oh fuck. Well, okay, never mind.
You can never leave. You're always here.
Always be grinding. Always be grinding.
Dan, did you get Archer and Gauntlet?
I did. Yeah, I'm one of the fortunate ones that squeezed it in. He's been very frequently used too. He's doing very well for me.
Yeah, we hate your guts. Okay, so Beholds in Gauntlets, Voyages, and the Objective event. Now, at one point he said that's not live. It won't be live with patch 9.3. At another point he said he addressed that in 9.3, so it's a ways off yet. It may not come till 10.0. Maybe they have to test more, but... he said the frequency of the Voyage Beholds is not determined. It won't be for every 4-star drop. It might be for some. They have to figure that out. And it won't be just for gold exclusives either. So if even without the exclusives in the picture, getting some Beholds on Voyages is going to help spice up that feature and getting a choice of 3 purples.
There is one...
Probably be a mixed rarity.
No. Yeah. That brings me to my point. There is a problem with that, and they're still not been fixed in the entirety of timelines. Is especially for you, Frank. You need a way to refresh those beholds if it is an all frozen behold, especially say like yourself, Danjamin. You've probably got a lot of the SRs or the super rares, haven't you? So even then, you kind of go, well, I've got 2 or 3. Maybe I can take a couple of free spins before I have to spend dilithium. It's one of the most common features I think people need. So it's like, yeah, you can introduce all these beholds you like, and for newer players, that's great. But for existing elderly players like us with our Zimmer frames hobbling along, going, is it another frozen dinner? No, fuck. And yeah.
It's something. So for long back 2016, 2017, the forums, and it's old forums. These forums don't exist anymore. Rest in peace. People cried, "Hey, I got a behold," because there was only like 200 crew, and I own them all. It didn't show immortalized or anything. It just showed if you had them or not, and people didn't like that. And the thought was, put something in there, and a lot of people have said this, put something in there so you cannot give me crew I have immortalized in a behold, or I don't want crew I have immortalized to have their stuff show up on a Dabo wheel. Well, people didn't always grasp it, but there's a lot. It's not just me. There are a lot of players that own all the cards. So if you have a behold mechanic that says, oh, but if they own it or they have it immortalized, don't show it to them, the game would break. It doesn't work. You have to have something. So the obvious mechanic then is reroll, where if it's even a one-time per behold thing, just a little button of give me some dilithium and I'll give you 3 more choices. And no secret, anybody that's ever used Datacore or any other amazing player tool out there, BigBook.app, and you've pulled your player JSON file from games.disruptorbeam.com, you'll know if you've looked through there that for years there has been a re-roll or refresh mechanic in there, but it's disabled.
I actually didn't know that.
It's been in there for years.
Oh, wow.
It's just never been implemented, and I don't know if it was abandoned for something else or whatever, but they were going to move forward with it at one point. That is a quality of life thing that does need to happen, especially now that we're into almost 1,400 cards in the game, almost 1,200 in the portal. You got to have something like that, because it's not fun for player retention, especially elderly players or even sticky players, people who've been around for 2 or 3 years. It's a mobile game. They're not supposed to be around that long. If they're trying to give you premium currency and you're giving them nothing in return but frustration, they're probably going to stop doing it. So options are good. Options are free. It doesn't cost anything for an option.
We're already Stockholmed. I think it probably goes beyond quality of life. If that affects their bottom line, I can see how they're going to dig their heels in about that.
I think they'd make money off it. I'm honestly, like, you could have like one free refresh and then dilithium costs like.
It depends on So think, Frank, for example. I think we're all vaguely aware that you've spent $1 or $2 on this game. Think of how many Frozen Beholds whales have had in the past, and if those were all beholds that filled your need, how fast would you have finished your collection and then stopped spending? So of course there's got to be a little give and play, and maybe they can find a price point that would allow them to continue, not to lose money on that, but then maybe that's too high for players to want to re-roll. So it is, I can see how that's tricky for them. For podcast listeners, are you happy with a new Faction Store exclusive? 69% say yes, it's great. 23% say yes, but the cost is too high. 8% say no, it wasn't needed.
And we'll get into this later again. I don't know that I agree with the concept that the cost is too high, because I'm not, Ben, if you're listening, close your ears. I'm shocked they went as low as 5,000. Like, that's like.
Well, what was the previous? It was 13,000.
15.
Yeah, it's 1,500, wasn't it? It was 15,000.
15,000.
Yeah, which is outrageous.
Well, we'll get to that. Let's keep.
All right,
let's keep going down the list here. The 10.0, which they said that patch should be late this year. I think WG Matt said probably they're shooting for late this year, maybe pushed into early next year. They have something called, by the way, chat, we're going to need you for this. It's called the Post-Immortalization Advancement feature. So you guys are going to have to come up with a better name while I read about this from their announcement recently. In development, 10.0.0. The Post-Immortalization Advancement feature, the ability to improve crew after they're immortalized by equipping new types of equipment, which increase their stats in various ways temporarily, very important there. But not all of these special equipment can be given to every crew. Some equipment have to have specific requirements, such as traits or character. I think they mean skills. I don't know why they said character. The Continuum, challenging generated away missions for only immortalized crew. New missions will be generated often, so there'll always be additional missions for you to play. These missions will be difficult, so using the Post-Immortalization Advancement feature will be key to completing each mission.
This is cool. Even if it's...
we did tease this, 2 shows ago, so if you want to go back and look, we did talk some about that on stream as well.
Equipment and continuum missions, we came over and we found basically a bunch of items and things that looked as though, that like exactly what it says, it would increase the stats of the crew. And I think at the time, I think we speculated that, oh cool, we'll be able to permanently buff some of those really crap crew that we really like the art for, or really like the crew. But if it says temporary, I still don't think that's a bad thing. I don't know. I think this sounds like this is going to be kind of in a way like similar to boss battles, that you'll have to pick the right ship, the right crew. In this case, you'll pick the right crew for the right node and go, then it can't quite make it, I'll equip this Batleth and they'll have more sec or something like that. That sounds interesting. But it depends, I think, if we're going to have like that Valor system towards it. If it's going to be like, right, you have 4 goes a day and then you have to spend dilithium for more, which I think there probably will be. Another currency, which we know there will be another currency.
So the idea of a temporary buff was what originally was very confusing to me about timelines, because I had these neat boosts that were dropping and I couldn't put them on my Voyagers. And so now my Voyages were still stuck at under 2 hours. And I could put them on my shuttles, but they wouldn't really do much during a skirmish event when my ships kept blowing up and I couldn't advance there. So if these equipments are going to apply to any portion of the game, then not only are we looking at being able to advance your personal game, but also in events too. And I think that maybe where the real desire to get these items comes, is if you can get a further edge in your faction and your galaxy events where you're getting more successes, more super rares.
Yeah, that's the point as well.
Then that's even if it's only for 24 hours or 12 hours. If you make that big push and that's when you choose to play your event, then there you go.
I'm just thinking top of my head, but Genos, if you're listening, this changes nightmare mode a little bit. But anyway, that's another conversation. I could spend an hour talking about this whole thing, like, you know, things it would apply to event, you know, how this affects events as well, because you can have people that now can probably spend the money and score even better on shuttle missions by getting more 90 to 100% chance over the 24 shuttles, or even in galaxy events, something like that. It's interesting to see how it will be applied, or even on Voyages.
So one idea in chat for the new features to call it crew betterization. One idea from Captain Idle says the beneficial enlargement of necessary stuff, aka the bends.
Yeah.
So
I like my one. We'll call it the bend system.
All right. Yeah, so he was asked about the Fleet Boss Battles, the month-long Endurance Objective event. He said that's been planned for a while, but they wanted to line that up with the new Captain's Bridge expansion. We talked about that recently on our show. That's a good time to launch it, because then even veteran players, they wouldn't have their bridge capped out. They could benefit from it too. So as to whether or not they're going to rerun it, he says we want to look at the data and feedback. So if you have feedback on that,
go let them know.
You know where to find them. The Bajoran collection this year. Someone asked about a Bajoran collection. He goes, yes, we know it's overdue. I said, is it going to be this year, Ben? He said, all right, it's this year. So we have, 7-8 months to go.
And looking at it, it looks like it's going to be a 60 threshold. There are 67 Bajorans currently, unless they release another mega.
They're all Cisco's and Kira's.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's not far
And
off.
Shax.
And Shaq, yeah. The 1 or 2 Shaqs. There's another Shaq's coming. We'll get onto that. But yeah, it looks about a 60 threshold, so you may be near it, you may not do. If you're a big Cisco fan, if you've been collecting your many Kiras they've been giving away over the last couple of years, then you might not be too bad. Roms as well? Roms Bajoran? Is he? Why?
He worked for the Bajorans.
He
so
did work for them, but
cards
culturally he is not a Bajoran? Like, unless he...
Let's not start that can.
Well,
all right. This one will interest you, Idle. There's a movie collection is, quote, likely.
Hell yeah.
And they are, quote, definitely open to more show collections. He says their original thinking was to keep collections small, but as they release more, now they're thinking more broad, including bigger traits like Discovery and other series.
Yeah.
So we did get the Discovery collection. We're probably going to look at, larger trait and more show collections in the future.
We've said do a super rare collection, like, do it, you cowards! Like, come on, release it. That will get people. That will get that fear of missing out hook people need.
But the first threshold is like 100.
Yeah, yeah, it would have to be, wouldn't it? Like 1, 5, 10, 6,000. Just put it all the way up there.
Even if it's not skill boost, it tickles the thing in the back of your brain that's like,
Yeah. Do you know
or
what
dopamine.
The top threshold for getting how many super rares are there? Like 700. The top threshold for getting 700 super rares immortalized should be a super rare site.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh yeah, that's classic WRG.
It's like, I have this now and I can't use it, but I suppose you could, but yeah.
Can always use more.
Go on then. What's next?
Navarch in chat points out, Navarch points out, it is a gorge, sir. That Rom married Lita.
Names right here.
Rom married Lita, I guess, which is why he's a Bajoran, which is why all the Amanda Graysons correctly have the Vulcan trait, right? Right? Okay. He says, quote, for event character, or I don't know. I got the details right here. 4 characters from Picard Season 3 are coming in events within, quote, the next few months, and then many more coming after that. So
yes.
It's nice at least that they won't debut like in Tuesday packs, which are making a return soon, or exclusives. We'll see the Season 3 characters in events.
I think they realise that people want to collect the crews they want to collect. That's why we see so many like super rare Picards or super rare popular characters or Rikers or Boimlers. Like people want to collect them, and they're the easiest way to get them. Where they'll send historically they have put the powerhouses on more obscure cards like Authorial Labin and things like that. So for the niche players, they go, yeah, I remember that episode. It's my favourite. Here's $400. So yeah, it's nice that they do go like, yeah, you guys are going to want that version of 7 of 9. You're going to want that version of Riker from Picard season 3. I promise. I swear to God, like next Trek show, we're going to have a spoilerific. We need to have a spoiler out of Picard season 3 because I'm itching just to talk about it.
Are there any spoiler light characters, Dan? Because you finished season 3 and you're a big TNG guy. Are there any spoiler light characters that you'd like to see in the game?
I guess I always been a Riker fan, and he just knocked my socks off. It's no secret that he's in the season, and I just want to see a really great version of him.
How about because I think this is like episode 1. There's a point where he's in the top bunk and Picard's in the lower bunk. Maybe you can make that a fusion card.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
Bunk bed Riker and Picard. That would be something.
Only if they then can release another one. Do you remember in season 1, there's the two of them on the lake, and they're sitting there basically having a big bromance.
That one's great.
Yeah, but lakeside Picard and Riker. You could release like 2 fusion cards at once. That'd be great.
So last time Ben was on, he made a joke about turning replicator rations into citations.
What a good idea!
And that started making the rounds. He says, we are not looking to turn replicator rations into sites, but they are, quote, floating ideas about turning rations into other things, but it's not a high priority.
It'd be nice just to have the option to go like, yeah, just turn it into this, and maybe get rid of that 10 limit, because you're going to run out of replications. Maybe. That a bad idea? Should we have a limit?
I mean,
on
at this
replications?
point, I would turn 32,000 rations into like one purple site because you just don't use them at all.
They're
so.
useless. Yeah, same with ISM. There's a bunch of currencies that are abandoned that just don't.
I've actually run out of ISM.
Okay.
I went a bit mad at the Celestial Market before I stopped. I was just like, I'm going to buy all the poles for all the crew retrievals I'm going to need for the next 10 months. And then, yeah, I ran out of ISM. But then I don't need it right now.
Idle is buying his Eagle Moss ships with ISM somehow.
Funnily enough, I did just buy 2 new Eagle Moss ships. I've actually finally got the Enterprise A. And I've got the Excelsior as well. And and I've got, yes, the Excelsior. Look at her. She's gorgeous.
No, she's not.
Yes, she is. I like the gorgeous. Anyway.
She's not. She looks like somebody stepped
There you go,
on
also.
her.
Tier the starships. That's what we can do on Saturday. Special guest.
All good things and a future Enterprise 3 nacelle badass ship is tier 1. We all know that.
Maybe. No one likes the fat
Maybe.
ones. No one likes the
outta
fat
here.
ones.
That one's...
Hey, fast ships need love too. All right. Question about the 9.2 lag. And I found this might have been the most interesting question in the whole thing for me if you take it at face value. It said 9.2 is a risky client for them. They had been paying off years of tech debt, pushed all these engine upgrades and stuff that they pushed off to this client release, added to the instability. And so, the cynicist among us would say, that's because they fired everyone 2 months earlier and that's why everything was broke. And it's like, well, no, a lot of this work was already done ahead of time. And that is a very plausible explanation to me as to why there were so many issues if they were working mostly on engine upgrades and that sort of thing. So are we buying what he's selling there?
I think so. Who is it? One of the other WRG employees that's been coming over to the forums. He's been on the data call.
Well, there's
Matt.
two, so
Yeah.
is it Matt or Joe?
It's Matt. It's Matt. Matt. There we go. I can remember the name. He's been over on Datacore, actually helping out the Datacore devs with like application fixes. Has been coming up with a huge changelog of stuff that have been fixed behind the scenes, which is like this, and the roadmap we'll talk about later is refreshingly awesome because it's nice to know that someone's actually working on these things. And I think in the last 2 or 3 months, there's definitely been a huge swing to fix quality of life stuff, which is something we haven't had before, which is very nice to see that someone's actually going, right, all these things you don't like, we're finally going to fix, like, selecting Voyagers, like ships in Voyagers, and, the colour of the frozen Behold in the Behold screen so you don't accidentally pick it over the one you don't own. Little things like that is nice to see. So I am inclined to... I don't want to say believe it, like I'm like suddenly some heretical doubter. I'm inclined to feel more positive about that announcement than anything else. Here you go. That's the diplomatic answer.
Yeah, Cranky, Ben is going to show up as soon as we start complaining about something. That's the way it always
We're being
works.
nice now. But you wait!
I will say this, piggybacking on that, because not only was he helping in the Datacore Discord with that group, but he did show up in the Timelines Discord when he changed the text in a Behold that we talked about earlier to frozen, changed the color of that to blue, like, ooh, cold. and he just posted a screenshot and said, "Hey, I just did this. Is this color good for everybody? Is this okay?" And everybody's like, "Holy crap! Years we've been asking, and you're just like on a whim on a Tuesday afternoon. You're like, oh, change the color." But it like
no.
we don't
You
know
were there
what
just
behind
going,
the
no,
scenes.
can you make it a bit more like a light teal? I found
Yes.
the blue hurts my eyes a little bit. If you could just dull down the saturation.
Hash 004114, please, as my preferred font.
He's like, what's that? Hex? Oh no, I don't do that. He's just got crayon.
So it's a weird phenomenon that, and we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Total caveat. It's a weird phenomenon for a work group to lose a lot of heads, giggity, and then run as efficiently or more efficiently. And it's strange to see this where they have free time to really interact with the community and push little fixes and ask these feedbacks. But I'm not mad about it, and I'm glad they're able to do it, and I hope they do it more because, again, for 7.5 years, some of the stuff, roadmaps that we'll get to, these types of interactions really have been asked for by people in the community, and it's constantly been pushed back and said, not possible, not happening, and now serendipitously we have it. So, all for it.
Everyone that
Frank-
was fired was part of a hardened sect
Yes.
of saboteurs who were slowing down progress. I'm just joking. I love all the people that have showed up on our show before and sadly lost their jobs. So,
We love Fury and Carmen, if you're out there in the universe.
and we can leave the rest though, but we'll take
Yes.
Fury and Carmen. Yep. Sorry, you were going to say something, Dan?
Yeah, just the I actually work in software testing, and I can tell you an engine upgrade is no light task, and it's there's no glory in it. Nobody sees the results unless something goes wrong, and I can tell you right now that the fact that we still have a game that plays the same way as it did before this engine upgrade is a testament to just how much work went into this. So being able to see these small little things that came part and parcel with it is great, but I'm really glad.
So they didn't just
must have
open-
been burning their candle at both ends. No, they didn't just push update.
Oh no,
all
it's because
and
they didn't just open a
and
text
then
file and just
execute.
change version number from 1.2 to
no.
like 2.3. Click saves, like we're done. Fucking look.
How come I never thought of that? You just made my job a bunch easier. Thank you.
No, yeah. Glad I'm good for something.
Sorry, I'm pull up the chat
there we go.
while we're talking about that. How do you guys feel about the future of timelines? We did when we learned about the layoffs, came on here, talked about a little bit doom and gloom, close your wallet, that sort of thing. Now things are moving a little bit faster, relatively. So just getting the temperature of the room. Someone asked about Ben about extending an event to 24 hours again. He said, "Quote probably never."
75.
Thank you, Frank.
Props.
For podcast listeners, Frank had a prop for us.
Temperature in my office is 75 degrees, 49% humidity. Not board condition.
So probably never extending an event, but they did say probably wouldn't include Reunion, Spock, and Kirk in another Elusive Treasures, and they did that anyway. So we'll see about that one.
What else?
No, nothing. Okay. Someone asked about the $10 LTOs. He said that might come back on the web shop or on the web shop and in game. And about campaigns, he said they're happy with the current iterations of campaigns, so I wouldn't expect those to change anytime soon. Regarding Voyage exclusives, they're hoping to address the low drop rate with Beholds. Quote, with how we implement that moving forward, we may make it a little bit easier to acquire exclusives. They are monitoring things.
It's going to be a hard balance because it's random. You randomly whether you're going to get it or not. And if they swing it too far in the other way, then everyone's just going to get 5 copies of Admiral Black and Chakotay before they know it, and then we go, well, I can stop running Voyages again. So they're obviously keen for people to use up the Voyage tokens and get themselves in that area. They get in that swing of things. So.
How many people, though, are not running Voyages and then they started running because they added a Chakotay? Like, is that a thing that anyone is doing?
No,
I
but I'll
can
tell you,
understand-
I've extended by Voyages. I've been using those tokens, so it's shaking them loose.
The biggest takeaway is you go look at the other social medias like the Facebooks or the Twitters or whatever that Timelines has a presence on. And people would post screenshots and go, oh my God, after 5 years of playing this game, I finally got a golden Voyages. not knowing,
Yeah.
you idiots. They just turned it on. They think that it just serendipitously happened to them. So,
I mean, it might take some of us 5 years to get a Golden Voyages. So
yeah. Not everybody has the same game knowledge. And
By the way,
I have
another
to
reason why you'll
appreciate
hate me, I'm up to my 3rd Void Defender Chakotay.
that. Well, that's been Danjavan, ladies and gentlemen.
I'll share my RNG with you.
Yeah. That's all right. It's not a good card anyway, so we don't worry about it. If you said Admiral Black,
Oh, come on.
you don't need one.
all right, someone's asking about would they ever change the drop rates to super rares or legendaries now that there's so many crew in the portal? And that was basically a no. He said they'd like to hear feedback on their mixed behold packs, which is something they're getting a lot of thought to lately. I guess that's going to be their primary way to address that.
I think mixed beholds have been fairly well received. I think that people have found them more a fun novelty as opposed to anything serious. People go like, yeah, I'll have a few pulls on that. The price has been in a reasonable area, and the gold chances are pretty good on those. So.
And I think, and we'll cover this, I think, in the very next line, but with the return of Tuesday packs, because for the last several months we haven't had Tuesday packs, but we've had mixed behold packs that featured around the theme of a mega or a collection or both that we've gotten. There's a little bit of a hint or an indication that new crew will not only come through the traditional Tuesday pack method that we all know and love so very much, but they may drop one in a mixed behold pack. And that's not a horrible thing as long as the price is right. Because if the price is not right, then you're not going to have a great adoption rate. And if you think that, oh, well, we'll sell the 3 pulls for $9.99 deal or something, no, because people will look at the value of the cards that are in that mixed behold bag. And if it's like Portal 63 and that one red-faced Dosey guy and Wyatt, and then your new tier 2 card, no, I don't. The world does not need more Wyatts.
I will echo what Trailfia in chat says. Avoid mixed beholds. A chance of purples when unwanted gold makes it too dangerous. Not only are you paying double the cost of a pack, you're not getting any of the honor from those packs. You're not getting any additional beholds from those packs. And I likened it yesterday to another game I play gives you that they like adding these rotating buffs where 5 seconds you're really strong and then for 5 seconds it's useless. And, you know, some people might think that's a skill issue. That's a little bit different. The point is you're like investing in something that some of the time might be completely worthless. So if I'm spending dilithium and one of the outcomes is 3 frozen crew and nothing else, no other beholds, no other crew, that's bad. I don't want to take that risk. It's basically gambling from packs, but up another level. For podcast listeners, how are you feeling about Timeline's future since the layoffs? 64% say things are looking up, 29% say about the same, 7% say worse. The end is nigh.
You get out of it, Janos. This is an optimistic thread.
Dan, how do you feel about that in Mixed Beholds?
So actually, I really liked one of them. The Discovery Mixed Behold, I think, was fantastic, and there were 2 big reasons for that. First, the distribution of super rares to golds. I think somebody had done the math in the forums that it was a very low % chance of you just getting all purples. Like you were probably going to get a gold, and for my dilithium, being able to put in just twice the price of a normal Tuesday pack, but getting a much higher chance of a gold card was great. And also, they're very recent. The cards are mostly able to be put on voyages, certainly can be flown on shuttles and good for their events. So that was one that I really chased the tiers. I spent some sites to get things up to get to the next tier to get my free Discovery Behold pack. Haven't been interested in the others. There's especially the one that's up right now. It just seems like a lot of old, tired crew. Not a lot of things that I'm interested in. So if they
enough
can,
about us.
yeah, if they can make it so that the next Mixed Behold has some really good chase cards in it that are powerful, and a really good high percentage. Any lottery ticket, some of them you're going to throw them away, you know. But if you can give me those good odds, I'm in.
I didn't even know there was a Mixed Behold pack going on right now, so I have to actually open the game and look.
I think at any given time, there's like an 80% chance that there's going to be a Mixed Behold in the portal. So, all right, two more questions from the BEM interview before we move on. Someone asked about different event types. We get this question all the time. Someone said, what about based on existing systems like Voyages or Gauntlet? He said, quote, I would love a Voyage event type. We've had conversations about it, but nothing has been moved from the backlog into development. And he has expressed before on this show that he really loves the idea of running multiple voyages or Voyage event or that kind of thing. With how popular a system it is, I could see that definitely happening in the future.
Yeah, I think he mentioned Voyage events a few years back when we had him on one of the other Q&As, and I think he said, like, yeah, they'll probably look into it and maybe, or something on the roadmap, something to look into, at some point. So, yeah, I could see it. I can't see them making it a priority because I think with a Voyage event, they've got to work out the profitability of it. Like, at the moment, faction events still make them a lot of money, and I think the reason they've been pushing Galaxy events is probably the same because there's enough of an avenue there. So yeah, I think Ranarian's right. We do need a new event type. It is, I'm pretty much sworn off events, like, now that I'm sort of picking it back up again, I look at events and I just go, I can't be asked. I can barely be asked to 130k anymore because, like, what am I getting out of this? I'm getting another super rare I'm going to chuck in the thingy, and I'm getting a few resources. So it needs, like, something, which is why I'm excited about this new continuum mode, because it's
expeditions, bro. Why are you excited?
Because it's not expeditions. It's shut up.
Expeditions with 8 tomatoes.
My problem, my problem with expeditions was the whole ticket system, which is a load of bullshit, because that was just absolutely die. You had to save tickets or lose them, and then you got some on the next day, but they went away, and then you just did them once, and then that was it. Hopefully, this continuum stuff will rectify that mistake. But hey. And what
Voyages are kind of the idle tapper of the game, and I just don't think it would translate well to an event. I want to be engaged in an event. I want to feel like I'm competing, and just kind of saying, okay, well, all right, here it's in the hands of fate now. I've released my crew, and I'll come back and check on them later, I guess. It just doesn't seem exciting to me.
That's the other thing, is how do you make that competitive? How do you make a Voyage, like, you're sending them off, and do you get like a random chance to score points depending on what drops in your Voyage, or it depends on how long you go for, and then you recall, like, it over a weekend? It's a hard one to gauge on how that would work.
Well, if we're relying on RNG, I would love it, and I would certainly compete, but...
Like
you'd probably have to have like featured crew and say, hey, send a Voyage with 3 Ciscos and earn double points or something like that, even though that would be a crappy Voyage in the Voyages we know.
Make the event crew drop from the Voyage.
That's rough. Oh, listen, you got to stop putting this evil out in the universe.
Okay, one last question from the Ben interview. Ben, what is your favorite beer? The Allagash White is a take on a traditional Belgian-style wheat beer, brewed with oats and red and white wheat, then spiced with coriander, curacao orange peel, and an undisclosed secret ingredient. The 5.2% alcohol by volume beer is conditioned, which means the beer gets an additional of house yeast and sugar in the can, which adds to shelf stability and gives it an extra hint of carbonation.
Wow, I missed that bit. It was very specific.
That's an exact quote. So beyond the Q&A, he also gave us a roadmap.
Yes, let's have a look at that now.
I have it pulled up here. So again, we'll do the same sort of thing. I'll run it down and we can chat about it. They say we are starting a new series, so this isn't just a one-off apparently, a new series of community updates that will keep you in the loop on everything coming from Star Trek Timelines in the next few months, from new crew releases to quality of life improvements. We have plenty of exciting things in store for you. In addition to our weekly and monthly collection releases, we're releasing new content for the upcoming months. In May, a month-long objective event rewarding Mirror Boimler, a new Honor Hull crew, Heroic Shacks. Both of those are Lower Decks crew. And they're bringing back Tuesday packs with new crews. Some will be the typical theme packs, and some will be mixed Behold packs.
Can I just say, just on the subject of a roadmap, how good is this little image that I've just pulled up on screen, and that little explanation of just saying, hey, this is what we're doing? How good is that? Like, it's just nice to see, like, it's not just like we've had before. No, Ben's always been pretty open with us, when he's come on, but it's nice to actually have an official communication go out there in the way that's saying, like, hey, here's what we're working on, here's what the things we're going to be doing, and here's things that may not happen but may happen. And it is nice just to have that little picture that you can, I kind of want to frame it and put it on my wall and go, look how they've learned.
No. And in the past, I can understand why, for myriad reasons, they didn't do this, mainly because of the vitriol that would happen on the forums. If they said this is going to release today at noon, and at 12:03 it's not there, there would be assassination squads. The Deadly Viper squad from Kill Bill would be lined up outside their house. And now I think hopefully, knock on wood, everybody's a little bit more chill and understanding because of the smaller workforce. But this is just killer. This is amazing. This is, if this doesn't, and it let's be frank here. Haha, see what I did. It's also to inspire player loyalty and happiness and encourage spending, because people see this and they go, oh, okay, well then the game's not dead. I'm going to spend. There's got to be something in it for them too, even if it's just, in the back of their head. Business 101. This is why you do things. And I'm all for it. Hey, this is a for-profit business. We're cool.
So we've got a bit of breaking news. Breaking.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. Indeed. There is a new ship in the Honor Hall. Did you enjoy spending 1.25 million honor on the Bortas? Did you do that, Danj? Did you do that? No, you sure? Were you never tempted?
No. No need for that.
There is another ship. It is what? Like, can you read someone in the game? Because I'm not currently in the game. Please read me the name of the ship.
The Bajoran Lightship.
Bajoran Lightship used to build and upgrade. Oh no, that's a schematic thing. Hold on, let me find out.
Here, let me go into shipyards.
Please wait.
The Bajoran Lightship with the wrong
Bajoran
art.
small transport ship that, thanks to solar sails, could reach faster than light speed.
And what is the actual ship in the image?
That is the ship of the Rongovians from Strange New Worlds, who, after meeting with Pike and having their empathetic shit-talking session, walked out, flew the Federation flag, and sailed off.
So that last hour we just spent praising WRG for their just throw it off, fucking. Yeah, you got the wrong ship.
Just ignore the flag on it and close your eyes, take off your glasses, squint, and say, oh, yeah, it's the Cisco solar sails. Yeah. What? The Rongovians were Bajoran. Breaking news.
Okay, so there's a new ship. It's got the wrong name in it. But hey, tell us about the features of this new ship. Is there anything good about it? What have we got? We got a new fleet boss battle, award-winning. Should you spend Go on.
It has a cooldown speed up timer, much like the Kraton. This one starts at 8 seconds. It has hull repair, and it has a huge attack speed boost for 6 seconds. So it's basically got all the meta hits aside from instant damage. And it's going to cost about 80% of what the Bortas costs in honor. So
about
close to
900.
$1 million.
Yeah.
I did the math. It was like 960,000 honor to max it all the way.
That's crazy.
Yeah, yes, it's an honor hole right now. For those asking in chat.
That's crazy.
And the price has been reduced. Now I bought the Bortas. Sorry.
Astronomical to stratospheric in
So
honor
the
cost.
Bortas was 25,000 per purchase. Now it's 20,000. I don't know. Did they lower the Bortas? Because
Maybe
I
they
don't
did.
get to see it anymore.
Maybe they did. So yeah, no, Bajoran sail ship is there. It looks like a bit of a monster fleet boss battles, but I just don't know why they do it at that price. At least the other ones for 100,000 honor for a star on a crew, even if they're not great, you can kind of go, I'll save that up in a few months or 4 months or so, and I'll buy that, and then I'll regret it because now I've got to spend sites to level up this mediocre crew. Danjavin, how many of the honor hall have you collected?
This one?
Poll up in chat, folks.
Yeah. Targon.
Yep, Kalis. Kalis is the only one, and
Yes.
I needed him to springboard up in Gauntlet because I had a very poor crew, and he did the job. Yeah, that's it. I really only ever spend my honor at the honor sales and get those sites that way.
Dan is no fool from Quinlot. He knows for whom the bell tolls.
Yeah, Kalis has had it. I think he may have had his time now. I don't know if he's still relevant, but he's
Baylock put him to bed. But.
Yeah, he's definitely had his he's definitely had his time where he was an absolute rock star. And I think any new player getting 100,000 honor probably kind of worth that, at least to get your foot in the door with a gauntlet.
He
I'm
turns
even-
6 years old next week.
Still looks great. I'm actually considering on my account now because I have 4,000 gauntlet rounds. The only crew that's dropped is the MFing Mariner who has crappy proficiency, so I can't even use in that game mode. So I have been considering it, yeah. By the way, I always do my best to include fair and balanced poll options. And the best I could do for fair and balanced is calling the cost crazy for this ship. So take from that what you will.
That's crazy.
And just as an editorial comment for me that has nothing to do with anything, historically, if they've ever introduced a new Honor Hall crew or an Honor Hall ship or both, there's another one right behind. So I would expect a new Honor Hall crew, Shax, which we know, really probably soon. Probably, and then an honor sale too. So just
probably getting around that time, isn't it?
Spend your honor ducats wisely.
Yes, I think we need to. Genos, need you, if you're listening, please give us an update when you think the next honor sale is going to happen. I think it's quarterly, but you are the prophet of that occasion, so please chime in the chat.
Oh, great prophet!
We beseech you.
We summon thee.
I need to spend my 70,000 honor.
Honor sale is this your card?
I didn't choose a card, Frank.
Damn.
Would you rather? I mean, it's different when you think when you have enough crew that you don't need help on voyages or gauntlet or whatever. But the cost of that ship is 24 B golds and 24 stars.
That's crazy.
On crew of your choice. 6 fully fused, that's half a voyage. 6 fully fused crew plus 24 B golds for a ship. I don't see anything in the stats, which should be up on Big Book Data pretty soon. I don't see anything that is kind of a league leader in any respect in terms of doesn't have the number one hull, doesn't have the number one damage per second. So yeah, I'm not seeing what they're going for here.
Yeah, it better be unique if it's going to cost that much. There's nothing unique here, and also there's not even any statuses. There's no position, no cloak. I see freighter, which is a rare type. That'd be nice if you could get that max for your voyages. But
is it 5-star?
That is a good shout. That really limits the kind of crew you can use on that ship too.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Like if you already have the artifact or whatever the best boss battle ship is, this is not going to save or shave a lot off of anything. Like it's not really truly maybe going to be fully worth it for that, but this would also be a completely different set of crew because it's different skills. So I don't even know what crew would be the meta to go win it. I'm not going to be the one to try.
Think about really cool crew that you want to try to use, like Dread Pirate Q. 400% instant damage, starts quick. That's a really fun crew to use, but he has a boarding trigger, so you can never use him on a ship that you spend 1 million honor on.
Maybe this will be where equipment comes in for the continuum missions. You can say it gives a crew a position trigger or something like that, or and then you can use him on this ship. For the next 24 hours, he has +3 attack and a position trigger. Maybe
we'll see. I think it's going to be closer to shuttle boosts, but if they can pull off something to shake up the arena meta, then hats off to them.
Indeed.
So, if we can backtrack a little bit, Idle, if you can pull up on screen, let's start with Mirror Boimler. I want to try something new with the lovely viewers of Timelines Talks. We have names of 3 crew, thanks to this roadmap, but we don't know their stats yet. So you guys are going to help us build a crew live in chat. Mirror Boimler. I need to know his traits and his skills.
Let's start with skills.
So let us know in chat.
So let's start with skills.
He only appears very briefly in the episode. He is in Mariner's holodeck program.
He kind of looks like, I think, how Stars wishes he looked.
Oh my god.
He's definitely got, because he's got the goatee, he's got the hair, and he's like a little bit of like, yeah.
Oh my god.
Love you, buddy, if you're watching, which he won't.
Dude, he's never coming on back.
No, that's...
Dude.
Come on, he's roasted me so much so often, it's my turn. Although he has done it to my face and I didn't, so there we are.
For Popcast listeners, will you buy the Bajoran Lightship? 82% say no way, crazy cost. 12% say yes, it looks great. 6% say maybe I would buy it if they lower the cost.
This guy's got to be a sec star, isn't he?
Now, chat. Well, this is chat's decision. They're saying command obsec. One says command sec.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be 2 of the skills.
I think we're seeing a command star, command sec. Would you give him a dip? I wouldn't give him anything else.
He is pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
And it's a very short scene. He doesn't do any engineering, science, or medical. So, yeah,
maybe it's a 2-skiller. Shit.
Probably.
Oh my god.
No, Boromir's already so undiplomatic already. Well, he is a butt kisser, but
I think he's going to be Sidia. He's going to be command sec. I would say sec command, but I'm willing to say command sec. I'll put the dip on there because, yeah, he's going to be dip. They're going to do it.
generous.
Engineering, maybe?
No.
You know? All right, traits.
Human, Mirror, Terran Empire, right? Those are the gimmies.
Yeah.
Now,
Human Mirror Terran.
Starfleet.
Yes. Well, hopefully. You'd hopefully.
He is, yeah, that's been a bug with Starfleet. All right, what else can we give him?
Brutal. I'm seeing brutal. I'm seeing tactician.
Brutal, that's a good one.
Hologram. Because he has a hologram.
He has a hologram, that's right.
They ever released that
Season
collection.
Mariners.
Hologram. Some kind of hologram. Mirror Universe. Oh, yeah, Mirror Universe, of course. Is he? Yeah, he would be Terran Empire and Mirror Universe. They do that, don't they? Oh, let me be
Now, Tactician is a little generous because I don't think he does anything tactical necessarily.
What rank is he in? I can't remember the episode, but did they go? Does he talk in it at all?
He has like 2 lines. I don't think they mention his rank though. He salutes Mariner, notices she saluted with the wrong arm, and then calls her a fraud and squeals at the top of his lungs.
Sounds like a duelist to me. Or a
Scoundrel. I think we probably throw
scoundrel.
Scoundrel.
Scoundrel works for me.
Now he did suss out immediately that she wasn't really from the Mirror Universe, so you could maybe throw Crafty in there.
Investigator. Investigator, crafty.
Sure.
Yeah, this is looking good. All Terrans are mirror, but not vice versa. That's interesting. Not all mirror
Right.
Terrans. Oh, yeah.
The Terran
that makes sense.
Empire
Yeah,
is
of course, yeah.
versus the Terran Rebellion.
And the Klingon Cardassian Alliance.
Okay, actually, that spread of traits would probably be okay.
Pretty
That's pretty
tasty.
generous. Oh.
But he won't have that many traits. He'll be 2 skiller, command sec. He'll be human, mirror, and investigator. You heard it
What
here
I'm gonna
tonight.
do- Yeah, I'm gonna throw that up on. We'll throw this on Discord for posterity and see how close we are.
We're doing like
when
a
they
reverse
actually come
fake
out.
crew. Sorry, we're doing a reverse Timelines Talks Originals. We're doing a reverse.
Timelines talks.
it
Real crew.
It didn't work.
Okay, so the next one up that we know of is Heroic Shacks,
Hang on 1 second.
and I couldn't even pinpoint where exactly that's from. So maybe someone in the chat can enlighten us what
That-
episode
Heroic Shack. Well, that's
is
probably
from.
going to be from the season 1 finale, isn't it? Where he throws Rutherford over his shoulder and chucks him in the shuttle, and sort of and spoilers if you haven't seen Lower Decks, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. He gets blown up on the Packard ship. So, gotta be sec. Everyone's sec these days.
Well,
That's the hot 2023.
Yeah, but if he's a hero, maybe give him a command primary this time.
I suppose, yeah. It's another command sec. Is this guy the faction store one?
No, he's honor
Honor
hall.
Hall.
Honor Hall. Command sec Eng. Eng works, I think. Chat saying Eng.
Come on, Chet. You know he's going to be a single cell sec. Come on.
Dan, are you a single cell organism? Dan, are you familiar with Lower Decks at all?
No, I haven't made it past the first episode. Sorry to say.
Oh no.
It gets better.
It does get a lot
Can't
better.
rely on your talents then.
I'd say
That
command
would be
sec.
pretty generous, I think. Yeah.
Command sec Eng. They've got to make it. They've got to put 3 Skinner. He can't be med. He can't be dip.
Ren Aaron says I don't get Yeah,
Maybe.
actually diplomacy. If you're a hero and you're
All right.
saving the day, I guess it is fairly
I just don't want him
diplomatic.
to be crappy skills skill order, but there you are.
They're both going to be command of
Fine.
sec.
Fine. Traits. Bajoran.
Bajoran, hero,
Starfleet. Hero's good. Yep.
inspiring.
Federation. Inspiring. Inspiring works for me.
Khan.
Takar. No.
No. So since he's the tactical officer, I think tactician.
Oh, animated.
Kind of like they give it to
Animated,
all the
yeah.
Tuvoks.
Yeah, tactician. Brutal? I don't know if he's very brutal in this. Maybe not.
Only to his enemies.
It's true. But Rutherford wasn't his enemy.
Oh, that's true.
No. Caregiver?
Hero. Well,
Caregiver? If it is that
So I
version.
don't even remember the episode well enough, so
Spiritual.
I can tell you.
I'll say
Spiritual.
Spiritual and
as a
care.
Bajoran.
I could put caregiver in there, fuck it. Because he cares. He won't put it in, but he cares for Rutherford.
Well, if
He
they're not going to
throws
put
him
it
into
in, come on, we want to see how close we can get to WRG's version.
Romantic? No, I wouldn't say romantic. That would be a fusion card with him and Ta'ana, I think, definitely, when they're in their Dixon Hill get-up.
Oh, veteran. That's
Veteran is a very good one.
Well,
Yeah, no, I would say veteran.
yeah, normally I give it to someone who's retired from the
Him and
service,
Kira have
though.
their moment, don't they? When they're talking about the past, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to go with that.
Yeah.
There's no way they're giving him more than like 6 traits anyway, so.
Well, for Honor Hall, you never know. They could pivot here.
Dude,
find
they
the
gave
value.
Worf 4 when he debuted, and we had to
Oh,
shame
that
them
was
into
absolutely
adding 3 more.
disgusting.
4 traits they gave him.
Yes.
Right.
So, as we were talking about the roadmap, since we're getting a little sidetracked, upcoming in June, they have Players' Choice Month voted on by the community. Now, somewhere in here. Yeah, they voted for the Temporal Cold War for the Mega and the EV Suit campaign with EV Suit Tendi, existing EV Suit Reed, and EV Suit McCoy. So that's who we can expect to see.
Yeah.
Lots of Tindy.
Lots of
coming up.
Tandy. Well, you need that for the
And
Orion collection.
a free 5-star crew giveaway. They haven't said if this is an objective event or not. Captain Picard Day Riker.
Let's talk about
So
him.
if you want to pull him up, this is
Ding.
gonna be our last one for Build a Crew.
Dip.
It's gonna be dip.
Dip. No, I
It
just
might
like
be
saying
one
that.
skill dip.
One skill dip. Ew. Dip command.
Yeah.
It's so depressing. Why can't
He's-
we
now
now
you know what
cool
it's
crew?
now
This
you
is
know what it's like for
terrible.
WRG.
Hear me out. Med, he's counseling the captain.
Ooh.
He's harassing and teasing the captain.
That's-
The counseling it's a men's form of counseling. We get our feelings through harassment of each other.
Can't see engineering, can't see science. I'm
Actually, many of his variants do have engineering as a tertiary. So now you're a TNG guy, Dan. You got to help us out. What's his third skill gonna
there's
be?
not a lot of meat on the bone here.
dip command doll.
There you go.
Does he inherit Picard's science skill that he always has because he's holding a Picard doll?
So
That's
Oh
good.
yeah, what does the doll add to his skills? That's a point actually. This is
The doll will, when you build the doll is going to add something. Is the doll going to be 100 dip?
the doll's going to add a dip tertiary as well as a dip primary.
So Riker in that scene has exactly 2 lines. He imitates Picard holding up the doll and goes, "I don't know. I think the resemblance is rather striking, number 1. Wouldn't you agree?" And then he says, "I'll be on the bridge." He turns around and walks out. So that's what we have to work with.
Sec. Because if Amanda Grayson can have it,
For the withering insults, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So we have
He's-
3 commando set crew basically.
He's taking his career in his hand by making fun of Picard on Picard Day.
That's true. That's true. All right, traits. Human.
All right, we're on a trip.
Do you know
Human,
what? Human Federation,
Federation
Starfleet.
Starfleet.
Yeah, HFS.
Maverick, and Gambler. They throw on a ton of
Absolutely.
Rikers, right?
Yeah.
Now I say thief because he's holding the doll. No, listen, he's holding the doll, and he turns around and walks out. And Troy
That's
goes,
true.
"Will," and then he stops and turns around and
There you
puts
go.
the doll down on the table. So he
Scoundrel.
tried to be a thief.
I think
Scoundrel. yes.
Scoundrel definitely.
That's
He's
to be
teasing
caregiver. He's
Picard.
playing dollies.
Ah, very good.
What was that one, sorry?
Caregiver.
Caregiver.
Caregiver. Okay.
The
yeah.
med tertiary. I told you. See, it's coming together. It's there.
All right, I'm revising it to a med tertiary because I can't write CDS again.
Musician.
Hang on. Ooh, musician. Yeah.
He does play the trombone. Yeah.
He's playing the doll.
Nightbird.
Counselor? Cranky says.
No, but he's harassing Picard. He's not counselor.
Well, he's going to command the Enterprise while Picard
Oh.
is too busy getting his revelry from children. So
He is, most of Zerans have pilot as well. He does a lot of piloting in the
pilot,
show.
yeah.
So if you're going to give him musician, you may as well give him pilot.
Diplomat. I don't think I can see diplomat in this. Resourceful? Brat.
Or
Definitely being a brat.
Brat. Okay, we'll give him Brat.
Lord.
Lord. No, I'll scrap it. No,
I don't think potato is a trait.
no, that's
So,
definitely. Whatever. What other traits are there in this game that we play a lot?
Cardassian, Trill, Empath, Smuggler,
Yeah.
Ferengi, Tribbled, Romulan, Maquis, Betazord, Q, Chef. Oh, Chef.
Chef. Yeah.
Jeff.
Only if we get Omarion eggs, Riker, when he's serving them up to all the crew in that season 2 episode.
Oh, yes, for podcast listeners, the Prophet Genocidinian has returned to chat, and we are going to ask him, please, using your wisdom, when is the next honor sale? Exclusive to chat. But we'll tell the podcast listeners.
Is he romantic?
I don't know, but I think Rikers usually are romantic. He's being romantic
I
with
guess
that
that's
doll.
kinda True.
He takes it away. He's obviously
Bro, let's
okay.
be careful.
no.
Okay,
Let's
so
not.
those are the 3 crew. Those are the 3 crew who we know are coming, but we don't know anything else about. So
You heard it here
I've
first.
copied them all into.
If the traits are wrong,
into our
How many of them
Discord.
do we create as Command Ipsex?
all of them.
The first 2, and this one is probably going to be Commander Ipsec. So I'm going to pin that, and we'll come back to it later.
Let me close that. Should we talk about some actual crew we haven't talked about yet? Or is this a well-actually moment?
Maybe.
Those were as real a crew as possible.
I mean, should we
Those
talk
are
about some
pretty-
real crew that have actual stats in the game right now that you could be spending potential dilithium or hard-earned time on?
Tell me more.
Okay, how about, why don't we actually talk about this faction shop crew we were talking so much about? And I've got to find my bloody thing because, is it that button? Does that button? There we go. And there we go. Let's talk about Mirror Tuvok. So this is the now tier 1 Voyage rank number 1 crew you can get in the faction shop if the Terran, in the Terran faction shop if the stars are aligned and you're on the right day. Dip rank number 5, Dip Sci-Sec. Nice skill set, nice Voyage rank, some tasty-ish traits. Yep. Do you want him to?
In the Mirror Universe, Tuvok was a member of the Terran Rebellion and used his species' inherent logic to fight the Klingon-Cardassian alliance.
I had to go back and watch this episode after he came out because the joke has been, wow, a tier 1 card for a guy on the wrong show for 2 seconds. He was actually on the show for a little bit longer than 2 seconds, and he had only like 4-ish lines of dialogue. But boy howdy, this is...
That being said, it is Tuvok. He is a Voyager.
Yes.
He is on the show Star Trek Voyager.
Okay, we can't do those kind of puns.
I mean, that's like me saying he's aces.
You just got a deck of cards there or something.
I'm ready for sight gags. I am Carrot Top today. Let's do it.
So he has the hidden Voyager trait, but he actually appears in the Deep Space Nine Mirror episode. So it is really cool when someone appears on a different show. Riker does it all the time. I mean, outside of the Enterprise finale, which it sucked, but it was still cool that he showed up there. So, you know, I don't know if that's special enough for an exclusive crew, but I think even though he only has 7 lines, it is cool when someone else shows up. I don't know.
Is this a crew, do we think, is going to stand the test of time? Is this going to be, like, not fall as far as Fenton Picard or Camping Archer and Porthos? Do you think this is going to stay up there a bit longer? Do you think his skill sets keep it? What do you think, Dan? Dan, have you been fishing for the Tuvok?
Yeah, so I've had on my retrieval list for quite some time something that fits the same skill order as Xindi Insectoid Counselor, and this guy just beats him up. But that said, if we're just looking at triplets, we've gotten him for free a couple of times. We've had 2024 Picard, 4 stars on that for free. We just got Joran Sisko 4 stars for free. So I don't know unless I mean if he shows up I'm gonna buy him. Let's just be honest. But I don't know if he's really gonna provide something that is a don't miss for a lot of the community.
It's cool to see a tier 1 card, which tiers are objective. Locutus tier 1, not objective.
Thank you.
Available to the entire player base without having to jump through many hoops. Now, yes, getting him to show up in your faction store is a hoop. It's a big hoop, but it's not Gauntlet. You have to chase him down in. It's not Voyages. You have to chase him down in. Like, if he shows up, as long as you have 5,001 dill to your name, you press a button and poof, there he is. Now, you also need 4 sites. Honor sale hopefully coming up soon, TM. Genocidinian says the 13th of June. Don't hold him to that, but hold him to that. So if, okay, you buy him and you site him from the most mega huge power-packed roster of all time any player's ever had to a brand new player that just started and somehow had 5,000 dilithium and 4 sites and bought it, what's the difference going to be? What's the delta for your overall day-to-day play going to be?
It depends where you are with Voyages. Like, are you making 10-hour Voyages already? Like, are you shooting for 12s? 12s are still, like, you know, hit or miss at this time. You know, sometimes you can get them, sometimes you can't. But for the general majority of people...
Thank you, Frank, for taking up the mantle.
Yeah. For oh god, I hate these glasses. This is why I took it away. For the most people, you know, if you're hitting 10 hours, you're kind of happy in a cycle of doing the 10-hour voyage, retrieving, or and then retrieving is the right word, and going through that cycle and just being happy with what you got. But then if you're going to go for a long voyage, and maybe another one's not going to make that much of a difference. There have been some shouts of people starting to approach 14-hour voyages, which is great. If you definitely want to do a long voyage, less tokens for getting a chance for Chakotay or a black, then maybe that's worth it. But I'm finding it hard to see the need for a top voyager outside of that cycle.
So I'm going to buy him when he appears in the faction store. Your question, will he stand the test of time? I say no. He has some real big holes right now. Useless in Gauntlet, useless on ships. Collection value is very, very low. Right now we have him rated 456 out of just Legendary Crew. And he's going to get some more. He's going to get Scoundrel Tactician if the game lasts long enough. But when you think about crew that have stood the test of time, we were talking about potentially buying Kayla still in year 6. He was the number 1 Voyager when he came out. Is anyone thinking about buying him today because of his voyages? No. It's because of Gauntlet, which is still pretty strong. Locutus was, I think, number 2 Voyager at one point. Is anyone aching to get him because of him on Voyages or shuttles? No. It's because he's great in Gauntlet and because he's very unique on ships. To stand the test of time, you have to be more unique than Voyage and Base. Everybody has Voyage and Base. So even though his power's great, he's probably worth the buy for almost everyone. And you're going to use him for several years. How long will he last? Not as long as crew who have more unique offerings. Really big trait monsters, Gauntlet, or ship stuff. And he doesn't have any of that. He's a little more vanilla than most of your powerhouses. And then you talk.
I don't think I have anything more to say about it. Okay, let's talk about the new crew that's coming out for next week's event. So it's been out like this for like a year, and I still can't get my head around it. Sorry, go on, Auto. Me? You?
You're something else, Idle.
Me? What have I done?
Okay, before we keep talking about crew, we haven't finished yet with the roadmap. So in July, we're going to get a new Gauntlet crew. Yet another, a third Lower Decks crew. So they are all the three of the upcoming crew are Lower Decks crew, and they're also going to add Picard Season 3 crew in July. Now, a couple things I want to go through the bug fixes, because people love to moan about bugs. They're actually going to fix a bunch. So in 9.3, actually, you know what? I'm not going to go over bug fixes. I'm going through the quality of life stuff. He mentioned new trainer usage. So instead of tapping and holding 1,000 blue trainers to level from 90 to 100, it's going to be faster and easier. When you're opening free packs, there's a pull again option. So you don't have to exit back into the time portal and then go back in and back and forth.
Buy again button, you say?
Yes. I can't wait for the first person who runs out of their free packs, hits the buy again on like a dilithium pack, doesn't realize it, and accidentally spends their dill. That's going to happen a lot.
Ooh, yeah, that's going to be nasty. Is there? It should be a confirmation, surely.
The new Void ship selection that they added, now it will automatically pick the highest antimatter ship. That's going to be nice. And this does say the functionality beholds won't be live when 9.3 releases, but they'll force upgrade it afterwards. So I don't think we'll need to wait till the end of the year and 10.0 to get that. Yeah. So before we go into new Chris, since we were talking about Tuvok, the faction update, and one of the reasons why we invited Big Brain Danjevin on, they reduced the prices of the crew in the faction shop from 15,000 dilithium for golds to only 5,000. They've added schematics in there, and like we said with Ben earlier, depending on feedback, they may add more exclusives. Danjin, the floor is yours to talk about the upcoming changes to shuttle missions and your results there, please.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so one of the first things I did, and you mentioned diving into the JSON. I love digging through that, and there's something in there for everybody, and I love looking at the drop rates. And one of the very first things I noticed was that they had indeed not only removed some of the high faction-only items from the drops on tank shuttles, but also they had pretty dramatically changed the drop rates. So if your shuttles are tanked, if they're at 30 seconds, if you have failed all the way back down, and you're running shuttles, you're going to get far fewer faction exclusive items than before. So immediately the community called nerf, and I kind of had to pump the brakes on that a little bit because was that like when Homer Simpson leans out the side of the car and Simpson goes nerf? Well, I gotta ask, what do we use the most of? Do we use the most of rarity 1 agonizers, or do we use the most of
every
sensors
day
and subprocessors and databases and clothing patterns and all the things that also drop from factions and shuttle missions? And for the longest time, I really haven't run shuttles, and that's changed in a big way. Now I can get a much bigger drop rate from what I can see. It looks like the on tank shuttles, I'll say, it looks like the drop rates have been tweaked up almost 400% on just components, just things like those real basic build items, the databases, and they've been decreased almost exactly as much for the faction items. Is it going to hurt the people that need holo programs? Yes, we have ways to get them. You can still get them. I've run quite a few as tests on those tank shuttles on Sec 31. And you still get a decent amount of holo programs. You're going to be spending a few more merits on them. If you're comfortable with that, you can still get them from your tank shuttles. Just this past week, I've been running some of the Klingon missions too, and I'm super happy now because now here's a big advantage for those shuttle missions where you really probably don't need a whole lot. The Klingon tends to win the event winner bonus pretty frequently. It shows up all the time in events. And I just don't need any more Baldricks. I don't need any more of those deck tags. And it's just, we're good.
It'd be nice if they kind of did like an audit of all crew in the game and say like, right, we need to get the most. I mean, they're probably, the community's probably done it, but like you need like to maximize all crew in the game, you need like 257 Baldricks, or you need like 6,000 holo programs. I kind of wish they'd kind of go over that and kind of taper the away team missions and shuttle drop rates to kind of reflect that, to kind of say like, right, you only need 250 Baldricks. Well, they should be a rarer one to get a little bit, and because it does feel like I have about 3,000 3-star furs and. Like where it doesn't feel like my inventory is balanced in the way it could be. It's a real minor niggle, but when you've got something like the 1,000 inventory cap which can't be tweaked, like some of those big items, you kind of go, well, I don't want to dump them, and I can't just dump like 500 of them. I have to dump them all, so it's a bit of a tricky one. Sorry to interrupt you.
You hit on something real good, Idle. That they need to change. The way the game works fundamentally to kind of suit the way that we actually play it, and so the fact that they're willing and open to do that at this stage rather than just resting and saying, oh, these things we don't need to touch anymore. Action event store, okay. So no, I'm happy for this, and I say that as somebody who has been silently working on a tool. The reason why I know so much about drop rates is I've been working on a tool that I plan to add to cab tools pretty shortly. That's gonna really elucidate those drop rates for everybody.
Oh, that would be handy.
And so we'll see how soon I can push that out to the public. But
that's at cabtools.com, right?
Or sttpowerratings.com. Yep. But you know, as somebody who has put a lot of time and effort into extracting all this information and putting it in a way that's going to be user friendly, I would welcome if they just changed everything overnight for the better, because it's just going to make the experience better for the whole team.
Well, I tell you, I'm also silently working with tools every day.
Both hands.
wanna
Not
add-
silently. It's not silent.
Yeah, that's true.
You're loudly working
I am a
with them.
tool. They also said now all 3-hour missions, including the ones right near the tanked territory, now guarantee a basic and common level or common rarity faction item. So even if you were running tank shuttles for all those Zero-Star HAL programs, you just need to go up a little bit higher, and those 3-hour missions will guarantee basic and common faction items. So it's not like they're impossible to get. You just have to change. It's kind of like more of a pick 'em. Instead of getting everything from tank shuttles, now you got to kind of choose if you want to run faction item shuttles or component item shuttles. I got to disagree with you, Idle, on that. I like having bottlenecks. I think it makes the game more interesting. If you had everything you need at your fingertips,
I wouldn't say it's everything you need.
where's the incentive? Where's the
but it's-
differentiation? It's kind of the argument about let's make all crew good and usable. Well, they've done that lately, and now when new crew come out, you're like,
true.
oh yeah, they're in the same power range as everyone else. I don't really need them.
I think it's not so much like having everything at fingertips. It's just more like I have a massive surplus of certain items that aren't getting used for crew. So maybe they release a crew in the future that can use like more of those 3-star furs, or some of them. I've got like 3,000 of these items. It seems like
32,000 spices.
yeah, something. Yeah, exactly. Like you have so many of those, but they're not getting used. And maybe it's less more about the drop rates and more about the crew they release. And I think that's a whole nother ball game with the equipment lists there.
I would love to see if they do give us something else to do with replicator rations. That solves so many problems because now you can turn your 32,000 spices into something else, honor crons, whatever they might let you get with rations. And
32,000
there's a whole
self-sealing
nother
symbols.
there's a whole nother mini game of inventory management there that they could tap into as some unused design space. But that's a pipe dream at the moment. So. Now we can talk about the other crew that you really wanted to talk about, Idle.
Oh wow! Sorry, I got carried away. Now talking about carrying us away, why don't this crew carry us away in a medical fugue? No, terrible segue. Chief Medical Officer Tendi is the next crew you can win in a couple of weeks away event. MedDip Psi Voyage rank number 96. Importantly, Orion, one of the most not difficult collections, but annoying collections because not a lot of the crew in the Orions have synergy with other collections out there. But Orion, Physician, Resourceful, a few little collections there. Gentlemen, please rate this crew.
Much like your segue in her tier, 6.
All right, I think this gimmick has legs, Frank.
Yeah,
I
I'm
kind of
quite
like
enjoying
this
this
card. Battling her conscience while serving as CMO in a drill, Tendi might be more dangerous for her Klingon patient than anything he had planned.
Oh, that's nice. It's Tendi.
For those that have not watched Lower Decks, Danger Van being one, Tendi is your lighthearted, wholesome, good person that you see through the eyes of when you're watching the show. Everybody else is kind of some level of miscreant or, in Boimler's case, sweaty. Tendi is just kind of that just really good, I guess, person that if you were in a medical situation, you would be like, oh, thank God this person's my doctor. At least they have small hands and this won't hurt so bad. So good to have medical crew, although we've gotten a lot of medical crew in the last year in some way.
We're not in the olden days where med crew is just like, you've got to get in the med, they're good med. Like, we're nowhere near that anymore. We've got some brilliant med
Q
crew
as
out
God is no longer the
Yeah.
piece de la resistance.
Still Voyages for me, but anyway, it's
haven't,
my shitty
but-
roster. Med is not a problem. We're not in the days where Dr. Pollard was a rock star. No, Dr. Pollard's on the other end of the spectrum where it's like, I've kind of frozen her, and like there was a days where she was on every voyage because she was that good at med. So we're not in those days anymore. We're not just taking just because med. So what else does it have to offer? Med dip as well is a very common combination of skills.
I think this is a really interesting crew. the big book, which has her tiered at 6, skews heavily toward voyages. There, she's okay. She's pretty average, maybe even below average for a new release. You blink, she's going to be triple-digit rank. Fine. Still, not everyone has a lot of med, and has pretty good antimatter rate, I think. Let me double-check that. Yeah. Top 50. That being said, everywhere else, she has something to offer. Number 3 med base. That's not bad. Thank you for the 3. 4 collections. Frank. 4 collections. Thank you.
I shuffled.
We're gonna have to work on this gimmick. And we blasted Lower Decks before for the art being so generic. Like, what can you do if they're just standing there? How can you paint them? Well, they gave her some props. They gave her cool expression. The shading is there. I really like the art, especially for a Lower Decks crew. So yeah, she definitely has avenues to contribute. And if you like the character, as Frank described, which she is pretty endearing, then I think this is a fun crew. I think Tier 6 is underselling her gestalt, as it were.
I think she's the definition of solid. This is a solid crew that you will use for a very long time. She's got a few outperformers. We all got, hopefully we chose Mukbara Crusher for free because she's been fantastic for fleet boss battles. And so we've got the same pair here, but there's always room for more. I like it especially as the finish to Omega. It's great that we can all, kind of work towards something that we're going to use. And typically these crew at the end of the Mega, if they're going to be the featured crew going into the first non-Mega event afterwards, may not be so desirable. So they pushed her a little bit, not too much. They're still saving that for all their exclusive crew that they're sending out from voyages and stuff. But she's just enough there that she's playable for, I think, most players, and certainly worth going for.
And to mention, she's going to be featured in a rerun event that's a pure Galaxy, barely, if even a year old. It was one of the first Lower Decks, or the first Lower Decks event we got, featuring Dr. T'Ana. So you will have another chance, reasonably assuming, to get a copy of that crew in that event. And it also features one of the 2, I think Boimler as the 2-star low threshold crew to get.
Oh, yeah.
He's with the other 2-star Lower Decks characters still not in the portal.
Yeah, they didn't hit
so for people that are playing, you can't get them. So this is a good chance to get them if you've missed out.
Which usually when there's a portal update, they sort of update all the 2-stars no matter how recently they were released, and they actually weren't in the last one. I didn't realise that. Yeah.
Yep.
And now you
I feel great shame of the fact that I forgot Danjuvin is now the cab man. It's still Trav in our head, Trav in our hearts, running cab. So we're going to get some Twitch sub exclusive stuff after we go off the air. We'll get Danjuvin's thoughts on Mir Tuvok breaking down his rating in boss battles and
we just brought him here because he's a pretty
score
face.
And all that good stuff.
I can't pretend to have everything completely nailed down yet. There are days where I feel like what's the meme of Charlie from Always Sunny in the mailroom, just like
yeah.
But I'm getting there.
Yeah, spreadsheets will do that to you.
We're this close to starting a Big Book podcast, just talking about nerdy stat shit. And when we do, Danjuvin, you're gonna. No, this is where we pretend that we're not talking about the stats.
Oh, I see. Do it.
8. Thank you. That took a minute.
Vegas with those skills. All right, I think we're close to the end.
Chad is delighted in Frank's card tricks, and so am I.
It is amusing me. How about finish off something a little classic, a little retro, a little premium Timelines talks. How about a beholder meter? Let's do. Yeah.
We could combine 2 and 1 and quiz Danjuvin on all of their cab scores when they pop up.
Oh no!
Like the old original Big Book ratings, the original cab ratings.
Should do. Oh yeah.
Who did you give a 14.2?
Yeah. Some imposter syndrome here. Oh no!
All right. Mr. Gangadan, since you are the new person here, you need to give me a tricorder noise, please, so we can stop this. It's very good, actually. Even got stars as my car as well.
Gungadin.
Okay.
I think that's going to be my new Discord name, is Gungadin.
5 stars on Scientist Dagra. I've forgotten all these crew. I've not played that long. 4 stars on Captain Burnham. 0 stars on Look at All My Flair, Chancellor Glaron. Here's a bit of a glare on. Gowron.
That's a great portmanteau, by the way, Glauron.
Glauron, yeah, I don't mind that.
Considering how
Do you want to finish?
he is.
He is good. Yeah, do you want to finish Burnham? Not really. Do you want to take a first star on Gowron? Yeah, you do. I think that's pretty much unanimous on this one. Is Gowron still the dip sword of Gowron still effective in the Gauntlet, or is his time passed over the last year or so? He still gets a 1k plus roll if you've got enough boosts.
Well, it's hard to make too much headway as a non-exclusive, but I'm more thinking Burnham is in 4 collections and does get fairly regular events. I could see someone wanting to finish her.
Nothing you can do with the site though. Site, and she's retrievable. She's like xenoanthropology and some other stuff as well. So she's not the hardest to get exclusive. If you wanted to get that last
Burnhams
item,
are difficult to retrieve. She may not be 100%.
Oh, that's true. That's
Actually, Gowron is only 50%.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, he's not.
I think you got to take him here.
Yeah.
That first star on Gowron is great. He along with Kalis does make a few of those command gauntlets still. So.
Yeah. Yeah,
He's been my avatar forever in the game, so you have to take him.
All right. Since it is Frank's
He's the king.
Yay. All right, Frank.
You know, Stars isn't here, and I'm shilling Burnham. What kind of bizarre world is this?
It's because you wore that T-shirt. That's what happens. You said something nice about disco, and that's how they get you.
Seeped inside me.
It did. Okay, Frank, give us the noise, please.
Sorry.
I like it. Okay, now
No
this one.
whammies.
This one is a good one. 2 stars on really bad art disguised Janeway, 1 star on Mr. Pickard, Century Nurse Crusher, or 3 stars on Virtuoso Doctor.
Terrible art, terrible name, and then fucking Doc. He's awesome. So,
Century
great.
Nurse Crusher she should be physician. She's a nurse, but Crusher is a doctor. She is missing physician tragically, and that's terrible, so don't take her. Disguised Janeway has a few collections to her. She's temporal operative. No, not that one. What's the one? Displaced. Displaced. She's resourceful, and a few other
just
ones.
making up traits.
She's temporal something. I don't know.
She's rich and
Yeah.
I
Good.
think
Good legs.
Bajoran. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kate Columbo,
Kate Columbo,
investigator.
Yeah. Oh, actually, you got to definitely take her then. Definitely take her. Is it the doc though?
Doc's ship quotas pick up the tempo, which she says to Kim of Harry Kim and the Kim Tones, which is one of the greatest bands in all the Delta Quadrant. So I think his proximity to Harry Kim's musical ability knocks him up a tier in my book.
Yeah, you're probably right. Century Nurse Crusher hasn't aged that well. She's lacking in the traits. Disguised Jane was just horrible. A horrible card to look at. That art is
How many of us old timers have about 200 2-star gold sitting around? Like, wouldn't it be nice to
so
finish
many.
one?
Wouldn't it be nice? Chat saying Crusher, Janeway. Cranky just says close your eyes and pick whatever.
Yeah, this is a toss-up here. Yeah, I mean, I'd always probably side with the captain if I had to just pick randomly, just because they'll probably get more events. But
And also, bone
art,
of contention, that Crusher, along with, I believe, Guinan, a part of a couple of crew, why would you just call them Century X? Like,
Times Arrow Guinan, Times Arrow Crusher would be better.
Century Guinan, Century Crusher.
Yeah.
Like, Century what?
Decade Crusher.
I kind of like it. I kind of like it, Frank. It's like mysterious. I don't know. I thought that had flavor.
5th of May, Picard.
I will say, I think we all know that they were never going to top the name Mary Men Crusher. She's happy about crushing men. That's like her full-time occupation.
All right, let's spin it again. Auto noise now, please.
The bleeps, the sweeps, and the creeps.
It's my favourite one yet.
The what? The what? And the what?
Hey now. 0 stars.
I know it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
0 stars on Leonardo da Vinci. 0 stars on
Screw salute.
0 stars on Chancellor Laurel. 3 stars on Flint. Now is Da Vinci
Flint
still
is so good.
Flint is good. Is Da Vinci still the powerhouse he used to be, or has age taken him to a place out of the holodeck?
So
I
Da
really
Vinci.
appreciate how we get both of Da Vinci's personas in this Behold, by the way.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
That is true.
Yeah, Da Vinci was my very first gold, so I have a soft spot, and I would absolutely take that star. But man, Flint does so much for me in Fleet Boss battles. He hasn't been as good lately as he was before they changed around the way the nodes are generated, but Flint is still worth having.
Now, I would say,
So,
if you've
Laurel,
yes,
who has 4 collections and the politician trait, which is likely to hit, is not 100% retrievable.
yeah, that's kind of
So
what
if you ever want her,
yeah, that's how I'd look at it. Like you've got Flint there, and why haven't you sighted him twice already? Put the 2 sights on him. He's going to do great work for you. I'd say take Laurel, not retrievable. Many collections. That would be my pick. I'd say. Not Da Vinci
If you're
though.
going to start a new gold, she is worth more than Da Vinci, because Da Vinci really he still voyages for me occasionally. I use him more for boss battles. That's the reason I have him thawed. Flint still occasionally voyages. I use him for boss battles. That's why I have him thawed. If I didn't have Laurel, she'd be a great pickup of a gold to start and make that a citation project or a whatever down the line, because she does have collections, and that's really the name of the game. And some of those collections are hard to get.
well, Da Vinci also has 4 collections, but Artist and Hologram are somewhat likely to hit as well. So I think, okay, we need to start a new segment, stock up, stock down kind of thing. I think the biggest stock to come up out of this last weekend interview with Ben is probably the romantic trade. Because thematically, it is so easy to make a collection around romantic, but we always thought, it's too big, they won't do it. Now he says they're going to go back to bigger collections.
Yeah.
So
Romantic and
that
Explorer,
seems
I think,
like a slam dunk.
two kind of most wanted big collections that are still attached to traits that aren't like brutal. Like the brutal one would be incredibly huge, but then so is resourceful. So there you are.
I'll
Yeah,
have to
I
stop airlocking BG Robinson then. Oh well.
Noted casual crew, yes.
All right, one last spin, and I shall do the sound of bloop, 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 bloop. Okay,
Tier 5.
fair. That's fair. 0 stars on Breakthrough.
I'm sorry, tier what, Frank?
5.
Tier
I'm
what?
sorry, you can't see. The cards are all on my floor now. So
Why are you even here, Frank? You were here for the card tricks, that's it.
oh wait.
Tier 4.
I'll take it. 0 stars on Breakthrough Booker. 0 stars on that Leland. Not Control Leland, the other one. Section 31 Leland. 0 stars on Leah Brahms. Do you go for Geordie's crush? Do you take the secret covert Section 31? Or do you embrace your inner empath with the Booker here? Now, Leland used to be good. He used to be a good ship battler before we had the sea of 400%
and also, if I'm not mistaken, he was the very first gold issued in the very first campaign.
He was, yes. Well, technically, if you count the small
Not
little beta
the
one,
Troy.
yeah, the Troy one. But yeah, he was the first one you could buy. I don't know that Booker that well. If someone can enlighten me, I know Leah's not great.
He has funky art, and he's fairly. Hold on, I have to pull up my account to look at him. He's within the last year, I want to say, he's come out.
Yes, because this is season 4 of Discovery. This is one of those crew.
He's got a really high skill. What is he? Is he security? Hold on, where are you?
He's in dip primary.
Oh, I have
Dip
to,
primary makes
have to
sense.
search.
Yeah.
Booker. There he is. Dip primary. I knew that all along. Just testing you. Really? Oh, he came out in October. Really high scores, but only Quegian, Federation, Desperate, Empath, Inspiring, Civilian Communicator, only in Boldly Go, Healthy Discourse, and Star Trek Discovery for collections.
Okay, look, we're all over 30 here, right? And we can agree we've all wasted our lives to a great extent. Before Leah Brahms was 30, she wrote the following books: Emergency Field Quench Procedures, Field Maintenance Power Requirements, Secondary Harmonic Safety Requirements, Synthetic Grav Field Interaction Considerations, Emergency Plasma Vent Procedures, Gravimetric Power Limits, Theoretical, and a half dozen other tech manuals before she was 30. Does that not count for anything?
No.
By the way, she doesn't have the writer trait, so.
Oh, really?
Oh,
That's done.
Just a fraud. Ben, you're out there. Just horrible. Game's broken, man. How can I didn't know any of that?
I think this is kind of.
Whenever I have a bunch of trash crew, first thing I think about is whether or not they're going to solve nodes for me. And Leah Brahms in particular, whenever she shows up, Holodeck 3 Leah Brahms is always right next to her. So I'll just unfreeze that. I think Leland actually, though, has some unique pairings, and so he probably have some utility there.
I think there's another metric we don't consider often is the fleet boss battle nodes, is because none of us know. Well, none of us apart from Danjavin node. I know I don't. Or do you, Frank? No, Frank nodes. You know, don't you? Yeah, you know. It's just you and me, Auto. We're the lazy fucks in the fleet.
Thanks to CAD tools. Use them today.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Sounds like us a
I'm
Leah
still
Brahms.
tickled at the embarrassment on everyone's faces when I said we've wasted our lives so far. I think that one cut a little bit too deep. I apologize for that.
No, I've definitely wasted my life, but I'm happy with that. I'm here entertaining other people to waste my life, so I'm wasting your lives watching me. And how do you feel about that? No, I just made things worse. Okay, that's the beholder meters. Let's not make this. Let's not extend this torture any further. Somebody be the Joker or the Jack. Right, okay. Thank you, everyone, for watching. It's been a wonderful show. Thank you, Danjavin, for joining us. It's been a pleasure to have you here, and hopefully we'll get you on at some point in the future. Speaking of the future, this might be one of the last times I may be hosting a Timelines Talks, because I'm gonna hand it off to these two guys here, and maybe they might do Timelines Talks at some kind of more American focused time where you can get other guests on, like maybe Big and Genos and other people on. So partly because I don't really know why. I've forgotten the reason, but I think we agreed that might be a good idea to try out.
You briefly quit the game.
You quit the game, but now you're back. So we're canceling all that.
Yeah.
We're back on regular British Standard Time. Timelines Talks, your favorite show, every other Wednesday, right here on whatever channel we're on at the same time.
One of these days, Timeless Talks Classic is going to hit the Turnabout Intruder episodes, and we'll be immediately canceled. Mm-hmm. And after about 20 years, then we're going to start Timeless Talks Next Generation.
I think Timeless Talks the Next Generation is imminent soon. I think like when it comes to stuff I want to do on Wednesdays, I've got a few other show ideas, and I think like for myself, talking about timelines hasn't been as interesting as it was, but I know you guys are still hooked and addicted, so I'm kind of happy to pass it over to you and be more assuaged.
I'm so much better than everyone else playing their little mobile games.
No, but in all seriousness, this has been fun, and we'll do some other stuff and do some other fun. But hopefully, you guys, and I know there's a lot of American viewers that kind of go, I can't watch at 3:30 in the afternoon and have a beer with you all. So maybe that might work out better. We'll try it. We'll see what happens, and
be
go
like
on from
Danjavin and quit your job to come on the show.
Absolutely.
That's true commitment.
I thought you just left. Did you quit your job to come here? Did you?
No, but they may not take me back.
No.
I'm going to send a copy of our show to Danjavin's boss and see what happens.
Yeah, this is what he's been doing with his time off. If you haven't already and you missed your chance to donate on the charity show, you can still do that. If you want to give a couple of dollars or $1 here or there, bit.ly/TrekTime23. Please go and donate. It's still open. We'll read your donations at the next show. It goes to a great cause, and it's going to be good. And also, you put a spelling error in that one. You put bit.lt. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Well, there go the donations.
Yeah, that's it. No, it's to turn the whole thing down. And you can check out all the sections of the charity show that you missed on the YouTube channel, where they're all cut up. You can watch an interview with Bill Krause and Sean Tronjo and Thomas Marone, Starship designers, for stuff that has actually been on Picard Season 3. We had a great interview with them. You can watch us doing very hilarious table readings, some What the Dub, some mariachi, all sorts of fun things. But I think we're going to call it a night here. It's been absolutely wonderful to have you all, wonderful to see you all. Goodbye, good night, ta-ra, and all that. I don't know where we're going with this. Bugger, it's time for Kate. All right, ta-ra!
Where were we here as kids? I think I'm a detective.